So, Brando, ultimately, it all came down to Emily Flippen. Why could you not sway her to your side?
I think a big part of it is Emily had her mind made up early. And it was an uphill battle for me. I think I could have done a better job fighting to get her on my side. But, we've heard about the unaired twist where Kendra went to Lulu Beach. And one of the things that she came back to Bella with was, I spent a lot of time with Emily. I really like Emily. We got good vibes from each other. And so going into the swap, we were under the perception that we already kind of had her in our three. And so I think, there were some missing pieces there that had I picked up on that, I might have done a better job swaying Emily towards us.
I was going to ask you about that because we saw last week Austin and Drew work pretty hard, pretty early to get her on their side. And you never know with Survivor because there's so much they can't put on the episode. So my natural question is, are Drew and Kendra doing the same thing and they're just not showing it? Or were they kind of like ease up on the gas a little?
Kendra and I definitely spent, a good amount of time talking to Emily and reassuring that we had her. But, there were definitely some arguments that we could have made that weren't there. Like I know one of the big arguments that we saw in the episode from Drew and Austin was, we want to go all the way to the end with you. We want to take you really far. We didn't make that argument. It was more of a, you can go further than one or two people, but we didn't commit to the final three agreement.
When you went to Tribal that night, what did you think was going to happen? Kendra looked absolutely shocked. You didn't necessarily look shocked, but when you walked in there, what did you think was going to go down?
So I was convinced I had done a good enough job with Drew to get Austin and Drew to vote for Kendra. And then I was under the assumption that Kendra, Emily, and I would be voting out Drew. So not only did I not think that I was going home, I didn't even think that my name was going to come up. It was a little bit shocking to say the least.
So let's get into that, man. We saw you offer Drew your shot in the dark. What was your thinking there?
The idea behind that was, look, I'm a numbers guy. 1 in 6 chance, not great. I was never planning on playing my shot in the dark, even if I needed it. And so, on a tribe of 5, your vote is so important, right? And so I figured that was a bargaining piece I could use. Emily did tell us at camp that she had used hers in a deal with Sabaya previously. And so that was my inspiration. But I was hoping that by giving it to Drew, not going to play it anyways. If I vote him out with it, whatever. But it was just to sort of sway him towards voting for Kendra.
So you didn't mind. You knew that you had the risk of losing it, but that really didn't mean anything to you. So
right.
The really surprising part of that is when Drew doesn't take it, because I'm struggling to find the upside of not taking it. So were you surprised when he's like, no, it's all good?
Right. I think a big part of not taking it was making me feel comfortable, because in that moment I was like, okay, like if he's not going to take it, we're already cool. Even though we had a little bit of a road bump with the whole Nerd Alliance talk. But he did actually off camera. I offered it to him again later. He did take it. It was in his pocket for like maybe 30 seconds. Then he felt bad and gave it back to me. So I think, part of it was that he felt bad. Part of it was that he was trying to convince me that I was safe.
Wow. So he had it in his pocket and then gave it back to you.
Right.
That's amazing. So tell me what's going through your mind when Emily comes up to you and informs you that Drew just told her everything you told him about being totally cool about getting rid of Kendra.
I think you can tell, but I was really caught off guard. And my first instinct was just deny it. Right. And, looking back, I definitely got caught up in that lie when Emily went back and talked to Drew and Austin. So I think, if I were to relive that moment, I would just tell her the truth. I didn't have a reason to lie to Emily. Emily was there when Drew shut down the Nerd Alliance. So I think she would have understood.
Did you ever come clean to Kendra and Emily about that? Or did they find out about it by watching it on TV last night?
They found out about it by watching on TV. So, felt a little bit bad, but, they go further than me. So can't complain.
Any text messages going back and forth last night about that?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I won't confirm or deny.
Okay, good enough. So you brought up the Nerd Alliance chat with Drew. How surprised were you when you floated that and he shot you down? Because that as you know, Brando, very rarely happens on Survivor. If someone offers you an alliance, you always accept it, even if you don't plan to honor it.
Oh my God, yeah, I was stunned. I mean, to be fair, when I was offering it to him, I also didn't really mean it. I was going to gun for him the whole time, so I don't totally blame him for shutting me down. It wasn't a move that I would ever expect somebody to make, because if anything, it gives me more reason to vote him out.
Right. Exactly. Just say, sure. right? Just say, sounds good.
Right. I mean, hey, we've seen how honest his game is, though. So maybe it was all part of the plan.
The nice thing about winning challenges is that you don't have to go to tribal council.
Right.
The not so nice thing is that there's a good chance you're not going to get a lot of screen time. And there was a while there where you were not getting a lot of screen time. How was it dealing with that? Because what people, viewers might not think about is that you've been waiting 5 months to see yourself on TV, and then it comes and you're not seeing a whole lot of yourself. So tell me what that was like.
Coming out of the game, I was very prepared for that. I would always say, I went out there, I went camping for 11 days, and then I got voted out of my first tribal. So I didn't have high expectations for my screen time. I will say I was pleasantly surprised with the first 2 episodes. And then, 3 and 4, I knew I didn't really do anything. So, a little bit heartbreaking, but I didn't really expect much.
What's something that happened out there that didn't make it to TV? What's something you wish we could have seen about your experience and your journey? Either a big moment, like you said, he took the shot in the dark and didn't give it back, or just something more general, whatever you want.
Right. I think something that we didn't get to see, and also that I didn't get to see, was at the swap, when we get our buffs and we have our new fresh buffs in our hand. Mine felt a little bit weird. And so, I'm unwrapping it and there's a note inside of my buff stitched into the buff. So I rip it out, I shove it in my pocket, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to look at this when I get back to camp. Like, I probably have some sort of advantage. This could be, an idol clue. Maybe the idols just got put into play. Lo and behold, I think I missed my window of opportunity with that one because it was taken from me. So I don't know what it said. It could have said, you may swap tribes with somebody else. Maybe I could have saved myself. But, future players, always read the note when you get it.
That is fascinating. So it was probably, we're guessing that it was probably some sort of advantage or thing you could do right there at the swap.
Right.
And because you didn't notice it, it was null and void by the time you got back to the beach.
Right. I was so worried that somebody would see me reading it. So I was like, I'm not even going to risk it. It's going in the pocket. And then I think I missed my window with that one.
How much have you been playing it in your mind in the past 5 months, 6 months, what that might have been?
People say that they come out of Survivor with regrets a lot of the time. My only regret for my 11 days out there is not at least reading what it said before I handed the note over. And, knowing, like, at least if I had a chance to save myself, I would at least like to know that. So that's been on my mind. Also, what could it be? Maybe we could have swapped beaches. Maybe I could have swapped with somebody. Maybe I could have swapped people on the other tribes, in which case it would have been, basically useless for me. I guess we'll never know. Well,
maybe we will. I mean, this is just guesswork, but if it didn't happen in 45, maybe they're going to put it into 46, right? So maybe you'll get your answer. Maybe in a few months. All right, Brando, if you could smash an hourglass and go back and change one thing about your game that might lead you down a different path, what would it be?
Other than, reading that note on the mat at the swap, I think I would maybe change the way that I handled the argument with Emily towards which way she should vote. Coming clean instead of lying to her about the whole Drew thing would have been big. So I think the way that I scrambled before tribal is the big thing I would have changed. Oh, and also more time looking for the idol on Bello Beach. There was a very big anti-idol hunting culture we always had something to be doing. If someone was missing, we were wondering what they were doing. And, I didn't want to be that person. So I think I should have spent more time looking for that idol.
If Bello had lost a challenge, and luckily you were competing against Lulu, so that wasn't going to happen. But if you had lost an immunity challenge, who would have gone home?
I've seen a lot of speculation about which way Kellie and I would have gone because we were, tight in the middle. But I hate to say it, I think Bruce would have been the one headed home first from Bello. And, so had we gone to that very first tribal council, he might have relived his fate. So, maybe for the best.
So do you go by Brando in your everyday life, or was Brando just to avoid having 2 Brandons on the same season?
Yeah, so, I was going by Brando for the whole casting process. A good amount of my hometown friends call me Brando. I've been called Brando for a long time. But, to my boss, to my coworkers, to my doctors, I'm always going to be Brandon. So there's a little bit of a mix, but I was Brando all the way through, the Survivor process. You've been a fan of the show and the game. So what was it like now watching yourself playing it? It was amazing. And I will say, everyone talks about, you hear like, oh, hearing your own voice on TV is so weird. And so, as much as it's rough not having a lot of screen time, I do feel like I got to enjoy the show more because I wasn't thinking about myself while I was watching it, if that makes sense. Favorite Pokemon Go character? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the classic. I'm gonna go with Bulbasaur.